Hello friends and welcome. Patch 7.39b came out last night. There's nothing too crazy in here. A couple bigger things to talk about. Most of it is small buffs and nerfs following a bigger patch like 7.39. General changes, some trees have shifted around. It's nothing too crazy. The main thing here that if any of you guys know, please let me know. Fix some locations that were incorrectly blocked for warding. I went around the map to places where I thought you should be able to ward and you couldn't in the past. And I'm like, oh, maybe you can now. Still can't. I'm not sure what these spots are. It might be some really small random locations. If you guys know, please let me know. If not, I will, over time, if I find them and it's like some really cool new warding spot, then I'll make a short or a video about it. Neutral item changes. It's a lot of the new items that weren't properly balanced. So GD pollen bag sounded great on paper, but I guess it's actually not doing as hot as they thought. So it's getting a buff to the health restoration loss from 20 to 30%. I think some of the issues with the GD pollen bag, even though it sounds great on paper, the radius is not the biggest. So it's mostly melee type initiators that have the easiest time applying this bag. And then by the time it comes online, it's a tier 3 neutral, so 25 minutes, and then however long to get the Madstone to craft it. By that point, a lot of the heroes you would want to counter this with, like a Spirit Vessel, would have been finished already, and so they're going to have to build a Dispel, like BKB, Manta, something like that. So by the time you get this item, I'd say the biggest purpose is for the health restoration loss versus a hero like Huskar. And he's already got an answer potentially. So I think that's why this item hasn't been as strong as it sounded. But if they keep buffing it, I mean, they're going to get there, you know? So maybe we're all just still figuring out the best time to use it. Or in my case, I just forget to use it. Maybe other people are also like that. So we'll see on that one. Dez and Bloodright has been nifty. They're going to make it so it doesn't impact certain abilities. It seems to be attack modifiers. I haven't really seen these in action. I've heard OD kind of just like dies while using Arcane Orb if he's taken this neutral, which is pretty funny. I didn't know like the poison attack and stuff were getting extra AoEs, but they're definitely not anymore. Or at least not the health part. But I assume that also means the AoE part wouldn't apply because that seems weird. That AoE is also being reduced a little bit, so not as good on the regular heroes who were getting it. Small nerf to Giant Small. Magnifying Monocle, which you had before, is also being nerfed. The cast range. Cast range is always great in this game for so many heroes, so small nerf there. Helm of the Undying, I think this one was very much needed. Not that I got into very many tier 5 games, but when I read this, it just seemed crazy. The late game, the ultra late game situations with tier 5 neutrals to not be killable is so massive. Because that's what the ultra late game is. It's a blink hex deleted by like Divine Rapier Daedalus. You know, you die within 1 or 2 seconds. And that's why everyone has to be all close together. You need like Lincolns, BKBs, you gotta be fast reactions, unless you have Helm of the Undying. And every 50 seconds, you get 5 extra seconds to do what you need to. You might be dead still, but you'll still use all your abilities, do the damage for your 2-second kills in the counter response. So I think buffing the cooldown by double sounds like crazy, but I think it's totally deserved. So yeah, that's the big one. Small buff to this. For the hero changes, Anti-Mage, you know, a buff to this. Still not going to see support Anti-Mage. I'm pretty sure Axe was one of the big winners from the patch, and I actually think he's still going to be pretty good because this is an Aghanim's Scepter nerf. And a lot of times, Axe is already having a good and an impactful game well before he builds in Aghanim's. So if you're an Axe player, and if you're not, maybe it's time to become an Axe player, I still think he's looking pretty good this patch. Beastmaster is no longer gonna have damage block on towers. I actually don't think this was that relevant in a lot of pub games anyways, but at high levels, you know, like early dives, stuff like that, not gonna work anymore. I think it's a pretty minor nerf to Beastmaster, except for like the pros who are like really making use of this stuff for those early kills. Bloodseeker, I still haven't seen a Bloodseeker in my games yet, but I've heard talk of like a Bloodseeker silencer lane being pretty powerful because you're both applying silences, and so silencer's getting a lot more value out of it. Sounds good to me. Haven't seen it. Can't talk too much on it. I think some people were trying Bloodseeker support, which I don't believe in, but perhaps it was doing better than expected because they are going to nerf it. So if you're not using it on yourself, there is a cast point to delay that. I think that's most relevant towards using it aggressively on mobile heroes like Puck, Ember, Storm. They could see you like start the animation and immediately get out of there before you can silence them forever. It's also going to get buffed on the base damage. So really, to me, seems like please play core Bloodseeker and just use it on yourself. But you will be able to use it on other heroes if it's still good at that time. Bristleback was still a pretty popular offlaner, so they're going to nerf 150 radius on the nasal goo. Like if you go past the threshold on his Bristleback, it like shot out. This was really annoying when you're trying to kill him as an offlaner, which is usually when you take Snot Rocket, and then it was just slowing everyone. I think this is still deserved, because even after his last set of nerfs, he was still one of the better offlaners. Brood Mother, this one's kind of wacky. So Necrotic Webs, health regeneration reduction, I suppose as part of the umbrella term changes, is now going to affect health restoration at the same values. And Spin Web, no, you guys can't see that, whatever. Max level, it's 70% regen reduction. So before that was just health regen. You had 100, you'd go down to 30. But now this also applies to lifesteal is the most significant case, I would say. Especially like Satanics in the late game, right? You pop that, go to full health, 70% reduction on that. That's actually really big. Now, I know Brood is not super popular outside of, freaks who like Broodmother and, Smurfs and stuff, pro matches. So maybe you won't see this one too much, but if you do, beware of the webs. A smaller nerf to Centaur and Darkseer, also smaller. Actually, I think these are bigger because Darkseer is one of the better offlaners. And there are two kind of significant things here, which look small, but are kind of big in my opinion. So 30 seconds down to 26 seconds on duration. Of course, in general, that's a pain for him. But especially a good use of Ion Shell is throughout the game, you walk up to a creep wave that's fighting, drop the Ion Shell, your Ion Shell kills that creep wave, and then it pushes forward, meets the next creep wave, and then Ion Shells that one. And maybe you don't farm everything, but your Ion Shell does enough damage that your creep wave kills that creep wave and then pushes on even further. So essentially, one Ion Shell could deal with 2 creep waves at a time. 26 seconds, I'm not a experienced Darkseer player, so I don't know the exact intricacies here, but I suspect will help to limit that, where you can't just Ion Shell a creep wave and get through 2 creep waves guaranteed. That 4 seconds off at the end might limit that potential. Wall of Replica, also losing 300 cast range, which is pretty big, especially in the early game. Later on, a lot of blink, surges, stuff like that, you're usually okay to get closer. But in the early game, before you have all that stuff, you would just wall really far away to hit someone with a slow and then get closer, vacuum them, stuff as needed. So this should hurt some early kill potential on Darkseer, who has been a really strong offlaner. I kind of think he's still going to be fine. But I guess we'll see. Like I said, I don't play Darkseer that much. They're really trying to help Dazzle out here on Nothal Boon, which in my opinion has been really bad for a long time. And they're really trying to make it good. I will have to go try with the numbers because heal amplification is now additive with the Lotus, the Holy Locket, which it wasn't before. It was multiplicative. So maybe we're getting to the point where it's actually good, because the more you can heal based on heal amplification, the more Nothal Boon, the overheal barrier, will do. And part of the reason I think it's bad is because Nothal Boon only goes so high. You can't stack it further through more casts. But if the amplification is enough that just the barrier is good enough, then it'll be fine. So if you want to play Dazzle, I think you can. It's not like, oh, this is finally going to make him good. Dazzle's actually been good in pubs for a long time, just because people are bad at dealing with save supports in pub games due to poor prioritization. So it's actually just better for you guys. It's the pro level, which Valve is trying to please, how do we get Dazzle support in here? It's one of those weird heroes that is bad at pros, good in pubs. So better for pub Dazzle players if you've been playing him as a support. Small nerf to Disruptor, kind of slightly bigger nerf to Doom, small nerf to Elder Titan, a little bit of a buff to Enchantress, which might actually be kind of bigger because one Wisp healing the entire time is actually kind of nice. Enigma, another popular offlaner that sometimes played it as a support, though I wouldn't recommend it too much in your pub games outside of coordinated stacks, getting some nerfs here, though this one's quality of life. Kez, we're going to have to see. It doesn't seem like enough, though I will say 3 to 3.75 seconds seems to help a lot in terms of guaranteeing at least 3 attacks. Sometimes, depending when you cast Falcon Rush, you wouldn't get 3 attacks if you messed up. And so this is much better for that. It's still pretty much impossible to get to 4 attacks, though abilities that are unit targeted now allow Kez to rush the target. Now, I'm not fully sure how this worked before because it's been a while since I played Kez since he came out. But at least from what I can tell, when you cast the katana on someone, you will charge in to do that, which is kind of nice. And also, when you throw your Talon Toss at them, it also does a secondary Ghost Falcon Rush hit. I don't remember if it was doing that before, but it's doing it now. You don't rush in to do it because that's not what Talon Toss is, but you get that second little hit from Falcon Rush. Again, maybe it was always like that, and I just don't remember. But if that's new, it is kind of nice for the hero. At least the katana is nice too, because I think that's one of the ways they're trying to like make him more consistent is like active the katana, which was the shard before, like make that a more standard part of his kit. Which maybe still needs some work, but that could be part of what gets him good. Some other buffs here, bringing back the Shotosai. Again, really not sure how good that'll be. Win rates will show it. I can't believe Lich is getting another buff, guys. I think Lich, just like Dazzle, is one of those heroes where it's not very good at the pro scene, but good in pubs. I really think play Lich in pubs, guys. Frostbound is free. Take Growing Cold. Now when you get hero kills, you get a quarter of your mana back. That's crazy to me, guys. I'm going to be playing Lich in my pubs. Position 5, I think, will be solid. A small buff here to Lifestealer. Lina nerfed here because the way slow burn was working before, you would amp your damage, and based on that amp damage, you get more slow burn damage, which you would then amp the slow burn damage. You were kind of like double dipping in that. So it's not going to work on the slow burn anymore. I think that's reasonable. I think she's still going to look fine. At the pro scene, maybe it'll be a little different, but in a lot of our pubs, I still think she was a fine mid even before the most recent patch. So I think she'll continue to be that even with this nerf. Morphling, health change is now affected by negative health restoration effects. I'll be honest, I thought it worked this way before, but then when I would try to test it, it didn't seem to work. So I don't know if it was a bug or if it just at some point in my memory or lack thereof, it used to work, changed to stop working, and now we're back, I guess. It's really hard for me to see. I was trying to do some little tests. I can't tell exactly how this works, but it does seem to be working. Like when you put the Spirit Vessel, Orb of Corrosion, Shivas, Necro, Ag, stuff like near him, the bar, guys, the bar used to go fast, and now it seems to go much slower. I can't tell exactly the mechanics because this is one a weird one, but it does seem to be much easier to deal with Morphling now in terms of killing him when he's shifting to strength. Because before it felt like you needed to jump him, surprise him with Hex, Orchid, silences, like whatever, to make sure he doesn't use shift. Otherwise, it was so hard to kill him, and sometimes it was still doable, but it was really hard. This should make it a little easier. Which you often use these types of effects on him anyways, but I guess it'll be better now, and or it's actually working now. Not sure. So I think Nature's Prophet support was pretty good with Soothing Saplings. You would just use it like a heal in the laning stage. I don't think 900 will affect your laning stage too much because Sprout cast range is 800, 850, 850 at max. So you're always in range of enchanted trees as long as you're standing near the trees to be healed. It's like in the later mid-game team fights where they're more scattered, it's going to be a little bit harder. But people were moving around so much that I think the biggest impact is in the laning stage. So of course it will hurt him, but I think if you like this hero a lot like I do, I'm still going to do it. So that's what I stand on this. Wrath of Nature, slight nerf, not going to be that huge of a deal. Nature's Prophet, the facet, is going up from 1.5 times hero level to 2 times the hero level. Still think this is a bit of a meme facet, but there is more gold at stake now, which I kind of like. It's like a risk of gold for which team, who knows, but there's a lot of gold to be had. So a little bit of a buff to it. We'll see if that's enough to make it not a meme. If you're playing core Nature's Prophet, by the way, it's not like this isn't a meme, you never take it. Like this is the core facet. I just don't think it's that great. Little nerf to Night Stalker, bigger nerf to Omni-Knight, who was a big winner with the Hammer of Purity becoming free. Still think it's pretty good. So he went from a decent pub hero but bad pro hero to a really good pub hero and a viable pro hero. And now he's dropping down a bit, but not like irrelevant. I still think he's a good hero. Just a little worse from 7.39, but it's still pretty good. Don't overcommit on it. You shouldn't have anyways, but Omni-Knight, just 1 point in Hammer of Purity is already so much more use than he could have gotten before. Due to his small mana pool, it being free, you just get to cast it way more often without cares. It's worse now, but it will still be really good. So if you like the hero, go ahead, keep playing him. It should be strong. Oracle, kind of also in that realm. Oracle was getting more popular. I think a little bit too strong with the way heal amplification became additive. So nerfing the strength gain on Oracle and the heal amplification on Reign of Destiny. Still think it's decent. Like I said, for Dazzle, for Omni-Knight, all these save heroes are never properly targeted in pub games, and you tend to have a pretty good win rates even when they're not considered strong heroes in the meta, whatever. Ringmaster side sideshow secrets here. Small buffs to these two, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Strongman Tonic is way too good. Whoopee Cushion has so many different uses. And then I'm blanking on the mirror, being able to dodge things and use the illusions of Scout are so good. These are useful as well, but way weaker in the laning stage compared to the Carney Classics. So I think that's the big issue, is that Ringmaster likes getting kills because it gets him souvenirs. And the Carney Classics, you get the first kill, that's the hard part. The souvenirs help you get more kills to get more souvenirs. It's like a snowball effect that feeds into itself. Sideshow Secrets doesn't help you do that as much outside of rare occasions. It's like weighted pie into a tower, stuff like that. It's more utility based, and that makes it harder to get the next kill, to get the next Sideshow Secrets souvenir. And that's why I think this facet is kind of not as good as the other one. I don't know what you have to do exactly to fix that. Like, oh, you get 2 souvenirs. Maybe, but until you get something like that, I think that is why Sideshow Secrets really falls flat compared to Carney Classics. Sand King was one of the biggest losers in the last patch. I think like 8 percentage points. It hurt a lot, and they're just trying to buff it back up. At the pro scene, some people were still playing him occasionally, even in that really nerfed state. But for pub games, I think people were really missing out on the bigger Sandstorm radius and like all the different spells being nerfed. He was like losing damage, losing laning, losing farm. He lost like everything. So they're trying to buff him up a little bit. Maybe become more of a playmaker. I don't know, because Burrow Strike is getting 10 mana off at max level, or like all the levels flat. And then like maybe you're getting Burrow Strike cast range, like easier stuns that you can use more frequently. I don't know. Maybe that's going to be a way to play him. Right now his win rate still pretty below 50%, like 45 I think right now. So not the greatest place for pubs unless you're really good at him. Shadow Shaman is getting a small nerf to his Ether Shock and Shackles. I still think it's fine. This was a really good hero. Whether you want to take Chicken Fingers or the Mega Ward, the Chungo Ward, both are pretty good. The Chungo Ward, I think more people are taking it. Not strictly because it's way better, but it's finally good enough to take and people want to do it. I think both have value. More damage when you need damage and when you need tower push and objective taking, you need more lockdown. Chicken Fingers, right? Both have their place. And so now you can kind of choose between the facet which one's better. Silencer, I wasn't sure how he played out with Suffer in Silence, if this would be enough, but it was enough damage, so they're dropping it a little bit. 2% at the first level, but 5% at the max level, so bit of a nerf for Silencer. Skywrath Mage is getting buffed. The base damage on Arcane Bolt is going up by 15 at max level, which is not bad, but I will say that Skywrath Mage's most common builds are usually like 1-4-1 into 1-4-4 or 1-1-4 into 1-4-4, and Arcane Bolt being maxed first, or whenever you max it, it's almost always last. And that means this is still just a 60 damage base damage ability until that point, and that's kind of not a very good buff. So, I mean, maybe with this change, people change it to go 4-1-1, but the other builds still seem better to me. Like silence and amplify other people's damage as a support is usually good, or slow to help other people do their damage, right? Like that's kind of the idea, rather than be a support that is spamming Arcane Bolt and you don't have the mana for it. So I'm not really sure this is in the right direction of getting this hero more relevant. They really don't want Slark to be a support, it seems. They keep trying to nerf Barracuda regen. I think Paravision will still do it. Pubs probably shouldn't. Sniper, base armor up. This is usually quite good for a lot of heroes. For Sniper, who's not usually being hit too often in the laning stage, I think this will be less noticeable, actually. But more useful to him later in the game when people are trying to jump him and kill him. He'll be 1 armor tankier. Woo, let's go. Techies. I'm surprised Techies is not better. I thought with the Twin Gates, Tormentors, all that, he should be better. And I think he's getting there. I think he's a little bit slept on, actually. So he's getting buffed with the Sticky Bomb. 15 more damage on level 1. Max level's fine. Still the same. But 15 damage on Sticky Bomb's pretty good, although this ability is longer cooldown than it used to be. But I tried one game today, felt decent. I'm not even good at techies. Go with the one with the percent HP damage going into the blast off attack, and then blast off with now 15 extra damage on your sticky bomb at a 101 build. Pretty threatening, along with your attack range, you know, whittle him down. I think he's going to be good. Templar Assassin, these nerfs might finally be enough to get her out of the meta. So 10 more mana on Refraction. She doesn't have a huge mana pool, and she wants to use Meld more frequently. So any extra mana cost is a pain for this hero, and the bonus damage is going to go down. 5 damage in the early levels, but actually 20 damage at max level. So that's pretty big. Now, will Smurfs in your game still pick TA? Probably, but this hero in general is getting hit with nerfs constantly, and at some point it's going to break, and I feel like we're at that point with this one. Terrorblade, also one of the more popular carries, and so he's getting this is a nerf. This is the illusions when they're too far away from him do less damage, and it's going from 50% damage to 60% damage reduction. Tinker, I think this is a great nerf. Is going to be much easier to kill core Tinkers who take Translocator. Before, when he would get rooted or leashed, he would just, you know, blink out of there, and it was really tough to deal with. You had to be able to jump him and then jump him a second time, and that's a huge pain, especially in pub games where you probably have one initiator anyways. So Translocator, not getting him out when it's rooted or leashed, I think it gives way more kill potential on this hero, especially with Atos. So I think that's really good. Troll Warlord, it's too strong, apparently, getting nerfed. I don't know. I didn't never see this hero, really. But yeah, small nerf to him, small buff to Underlord, Ursa, a little bit of a change. The Furious Wipes to Roshan is a nerf. Rip that speedrun. It'll be harder to do that now to kill the Roshan as fast as possible. But Overpower buff in the early game where maybe the kills help him snowball, but nerfed in the late game where he needs to kill heroes to win the game. So I'm actually not sure where this one is going to fall out, whether being able to get kills into slow heroes in the early game is going to be better versus the loss in the late game. So we'll see on that one. And finally, a nerf to Visage and a small buff to Warlock, I would say. I don't think you're really taking AoE all that often on Warlock, but when you do, the Golem's permanent immolation will go up as well. With all that said, here's some heroes I'm keeping my eye on. The cores, you know, I'm not really a core player, so not as sure on these. But the supports, I think all of these are decent. I'm not saying these are like the best supports, S tier, whatever, blah, 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 but they're all decent. Like, you're not griefing yourself when you pick these heroes, as long as you know what you're doing. For Batrider, I would take not Arsonist, but Stoked, and just play him like the old way. Flame Break, knock people into you, Q, Napalm, eventually like farm with the E, stuff like that, but your E is just better when you do use it. I would just play it that way if you're interested in the Batrider. Invoker, I think Wex is the more stable build, but I think the Scholar of Korix has some cool applications with farming and split pushing with the Shard, so I've been playing around with it. I'll maybe make a guide down the line. The rest is about the same. I saw more people playing Naga support with the buff she was getting. I wasn't sure if it would be enough to bring her back, but it seems to maybe be. Saw the pros trying it out, so I'll give it a go in pubs and see how it feels, let you guys know. The rest, nothing too crazy. A lot of the heroes, not a lot, some heroes that are good are around the health restoration changes and heal amplification stuff. So heroes like Necrophos, Oracle, the healers especially, who are maybe buying Holy Locket or maybe stacking negative heal amplification, heal health restoration, stuff like that. Several of those heroes seem good, and like Brood recently getting that on the web seems better as well. So if you like those types of heroes, they do seem strong right now. Other than that, it's just like the numbers and all that, because the meta itself in pubs I haven't noticed shifting too much, at least for like the average game. Like the higher MMR pubs, yeah, maybe that's different, but for a lot of just the regular old pubs, it doesn't seem like, you know, Tormentor moving later 5 minutes has really shifted the meta all that much. So a lot of the same heroes are still good, the same styles of play are good. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in a future video. Bye.